Have you ever had one of those mornings where the day hasn't even really started yet, and somehow you already feel behind? It's a strange feeling. Your eyes are barely open, your feet touch the floor, and before you've even had a full thought, your hand is already reaching for your phone, not because you planned to, not because you decided, I'm going to check something important. It just happens almost like a reflex. The screen lights up, and in an instant, the world rushes in. Notifications stacked on top of each other, emails, waiting, messages, blinking, news, headlines, pulling your attention, reminders, deadlines, expectations, all at once. And just like that, your day doesn't begin with intention, it begins with reaction. Before you've had a moment to think about what you want, you're already responding to what everyone else wants from you. You're no longer leading your day, you're chasing it, and maybe you don't notice it right away. Maybe it feels normal, maybe it even feels like you're being productive. After all, you're doing things, you're replying to people, you're checking things off, you're moving quickly, you're staying busy. From the outside, it looks like a full day, a good day, but there's a quiet cost to living like this. A cost that doesn't show up immediately. It doesn't hit you at 9 a.m. It doesn't show itself at noon. It builds slowly, quietly almost, invisible, until suddenly you feel it, because before you know it, it's late afternoon, maybe around 5, maybe a little later. You finally pause, maybe. You lean back in your chair, maybe you step away from your desk. Maybe you're standing in the kitchen holding a cup of coffee that's already gone cold, and for the first time all day. You stopped out, you take a breath, and you ask yourself something simple. What did I actually accomplish today? Not what did you do, not how many emails you answered, not how many messages you replied to, not how many small problems you solved for other people, but what actually moved your life forward. And that's when the feeling starts to creep in. Slow at first out, then heavier, that frustrating, hard to name feeling because you were busy all day. You didn't waste time in the obvious ways. You weren't lying around, you weren't endlessly scrolling. For hours you were doing things that you were active, but somehow, none of it feels meaningful. None of it feels like real progress. It's like you spent the entire day running, but didn't actually get anywhere, like being on a treadmill. You're sweating, your legs are tired, your mind feels drained, but when you step off, you're still in the same place. And that's the part that hurts, not the tiredness, not even the effort, but the realization that all that effort didn't move you closer to where you want to be now. Imagine that happening once. It's frustrating. Yes, but manageable. You tell yourself tomorrow will be better. But when it happens again, and then again, and then again, something changes. It stops feeling like a bad day and starts feeling like a pattern, a loop, a cycle that quietly repeats itself. You wake up already a bit tired, you react to everything all day, you end the day exhausted, and before you go to sleep, you make a promise. Tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow, you'll be more focused. Tomorrow, you'll be more intentional. Tomorrow, you'll finally get to the things that matter. But then tomorrow comes, and somehow, it looks exactly the same rush, the same noise, the same constant pull from different directions, and little by little, something inside you starts to fade. Your sense of control, your clarity, your confidence that you can actually direct your own life. Because when every day feels reactive and everything feels like it's decided for you, it starts to feel like you're not really in charge anymore. Like your time doesn't belong to you, like your day is being run by everything except you. And that kind of exhaustion is different. It's not the kind that a good night's sleep fixes. It's not the kind that goes away with a weekend off, because it's not just physical, it's mental, it's emotional. It's that quiet frustration of knowing you're capable of more, but not being able to reach it. And here's something important too. Understand this isn't happening because you're lazy. It's not because you lack discipline. It's not because you don't care. In fact, for most people, it's the opposite. It's happening because you care too much about too many things at once. Everything feels important. Everything feels urgent. Every email looks like it needs a quick reply. Every message feels like it shouldn't be ignored. Every task seems like it has to be done right now. And when everything feels important, nothing truly is. You get pulled into a constant state of urgency, a state where your attention is controlled by whatever is loudest, not by what actually matters. And over time, this creates a very convincing illusion. The illusion that being busy means you're being productive, but they're not the same, not even close. Being busy means you're moving. Being productive means you're moving in the right direction. Busyness is reacting. Productivity is choosing. Busyness fills your day. Productivity moves your life forward. And when those two get mixed up, you end up doing a lot, but achieving very little. You end the day exhausted, but not fulfilled. You feel overwhelmed, but not satisfied. And this is where so many people get stuck. Not because they aren't working hard, but because their effort is scattered, pulled in too many directions, broken into too many small pieces, and without realizing it, they've handed over control. They've let the world decide what matters, instead of deciding for themselves. But what if that could change? What if you could take back control of your day? Not with something complicated, not with a system that takes hours to learn, not with another app you download, use for a few days, and then forget about, but with something simple, something small, something so simple, it almost feels like it shouldn't make up different 5 minutes, just 5 minutes in the morning before the noise starts, before the notifications, before the world has a chance to tell you what it wants from you. You take 5 minutes to decide what you want from your day. And at first, it might sound too small. 5 minutes doesn't feel like much. You might even think, what difference can 5 minutes really make? But those 5 minutes can change everything, because in those 5 minutes, something shifts. You move from reacting to leading, from being pulled, to choosing, from scattered, to clear. Think of it like this. Imagine getting in your car and starting to drive without knowing where you're going. You turn left, then right, then straight. You follow. Whatever road looks interesting at the moment, you're moving, you're active, you're going somewhere, but you don't actually have a destination. So after hours of driving, you might be far from where you started, but not where you wanted to be. That's what most days look like. Movement without direction, effort without intention. Now imagine something different before you start the car. You pause just for a moment. You decide where you want to go. You think about the route. You set a destination. Now every turn makes sense. Every mile has meaning. Every step moves you closer to something that matters. That's what those 5 minutes do. They give your day direction. They give your mind a target. They give your actions a purpose. And the way you do it is simple. You wake up. You resist the urge to check your phone. You don't open your email. You don't scroll. Instead, you sit down, maybe at the kitchen table, maybe with a cup of coffee, maybe while the house is still quiet before everyone else wakes up. You take a notebook, something real. You can write in, and you ask yourself one question. If I could only accomplish 3 things today, what would they be? Not 10. Not a long list. Just 3. And this is where things start to change, because this question forces you to think differently. It forces you to choose, to prioritize, to look past what's urgent and focus on what's important at first. It might feel uncomfortable. Your mind is used to thinking in terms of more tasks, more activity, more things to get done. But now you're asking it to think in terms of impact. What actually matters today? What would make today feel meaningful? What would move my life forward, even just a little? And when you choose those 3 things, something shifts. Your day stops being random, and starts becoming intentional. Those 3 tasks become your anchors, the things that matter most. Everything else becomes secondary. This doesn't mean you ignore your responsibilities. You still reply to his emails, you still handle things that come up, but they no longer control your day. They fit around your priorities, not the other way around. Let me share a real example. There was a woman named Sarah. She was a freelance graphic designer. Creative, skilled, hardworking, but her days felt like chaos. Every morning, the first thing she did was open her inbox, and it was always full. Clients asking for changes, new requests coming in, deadlines shifting, urgent messages everywhere, and without thinking, she would jump in, replying, fixing, adjusting. One email would lead to another. One task would interrupt the next, and before she realized it, hours were gone. Her energy was low, her focus was scattered, and the work she actually cared about, the kind that required real creativity and deep thinking, getting pushed aside day after day, week after week. She felt like she was always working, but never moving forward, like running in place, always busy, never arriving. And it started to affect more than just her schedule. It affected her mood, her confidence, her sense that she was actually in control of her own life. Until one day she tried something different, nothing big, nothing complicated. Just 5 minutes in the morning, she sat down with her coffee, opened a notebook, and asked herself that one question. If I could only accomplish 3 things today, what would they be? At first, it felt almost too simple, but she did it anyway, and she chose 3 things. Finish a logo concept for an important client, outline her next blog post, go for a run. Just 3. Then she did something else. She protected them. She looked at her day and made space. From 9 to 11 in the morning. She focused on the logo, no email, no distractions, just work later. She set time for a blog, and in the evening, she went for her run. Everything else. It happened around those priorities, not before them. Instead of them around them. The first day wasn't perfect. She still felt the urge to check her inbox. She still felt pulled, but she held her ground. Just a little. And at the end of the day, something felt different. She had done what mattered, not everything, but the important things. And for the first time in a while, she felt a sense of completion, a sense of progress, a sense of control. So she did it again the next day, and the next that, and within a week, things began to shift. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. Her focus improved, her stress went down, her work got better, not because she was doing more, but because she was doing what mattered. She stopped reacting and started choosing. She stopped letting the day control her and started shaping it. And that's the real power of this. Habits, it's not just about getting more done. It's about changing how you relate to your time. It's about moving from chaos to clarity, from noise to focus, from reaction to intention. And the best part, it only takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes to take your day back. 5 minutes to decide what matters. 5 minutes to remind yourself that your time is yours. So here's something simple you can try, starting tomorrow. Before you touch your phone, before you check anything, before the world rushes in, take 5 minutes. Sit down, grab a notebook, ask yourself that one question. Choose your 3 priorities and protect them. Just for 1 week, 7 days. That's it. And pay attention to what changes, not just in what you get done, but in how you feel, your focus, your energy, your sense of direction. Because when you begin your day with intention, everything else starts to line up. You stop drifting, you start steering, you stop reacting, you start choosing, and slowly, day by day, you build something powerful, not just productivity, but control, not just efficiency, but purpose. And in a world that constantly pulls at your attention from every direction, that kind of control is everything. Those 5 minutes might turn out to be the most valuable part of your entire day.